Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video in the transit van build series. And today I'm actually tackling the cab locker above the cab in the van. I've bought a Evo Motion Design it's like a pre-cut, pre-made locker cabinet. I'll show you that anyway. It's better if I show you rather than trying to explain what it is. That's what I've bought. So once all the latches and that's in, I'll be able to open this, and that should finish that space off nicely, because I figured this would be quite awkward to do, and I thought by the time I've actually bought a piece of furniture board to do it, and by the time I've cut it all out, if I make a mistake or don't get it quite right, I'm not happy with it, I'm going to be really annoyed. So I figured just buy it and it's all done, and then all I've got to do is fit it. So it's a bit like a bit of flat pack furniture really. But what I've had to do, first off, there's some plastic trims here. These, look. I've took them off. Not sure whether I can put them back on or not. So I don't really want them at the moment. But I want to carpet all in here. I want to get all this carpeted and all nice and tidy. So now I've took those plastic trims off, I've seen these areas, and there's a big cavity in there, so that's something I need to stick some dodo fleece in. I don't think I'll really be able to get any of this thermoliner in there, because I mean, look at the size of trying to get some in there with adhesive on it, I think isn't going to be impossible. So I think all I can really do is stick a bit of dodo fleece in there, and then I don't know what to do about these little bits. These, like, can you see down there? Those bits. I can't really carpet down and in there and up round there, which is what I was planning on doing. I didn't know. I thought this was going to be one solid piece. I didn't realise there was like a little cavity in there. So I'm not really sure what to do with that at the moment. Obviously I'm going to have to tape up this. And I was hoping just to carpet the whole thing inside. But first of all, I've cleaned it all. I've hoovered it and I've put some, I've wiped it all over with some white spirit. So now I've got to try and figure out what to do with all these bits, like I was saying. And I've also got spaghetti junction to sort out. I mean, I've got all these bloody cables. That's a van wiring loom, that's a van wiring loom. Some of that's my wiring that I've added to it. That's a wire I'm putting in for a light in the cab, so there's a light in there. I think that's what the guy who fitted the alarm, I think that's the shock sensor, which I really wish was behind there. Because you've got to lift this up to here. See the notch? There's a notch out at the top of the locker for the cable. So I'm just hoping I can get that high enough. But I've had to take it off there because I had it taped up there, but it's made it too taut there. So I've had to undo it from up there and try and get it up as high as I can. But then it's going to be touching down there, the metal. It's going to be touching that bit of metal there, look. So I'm going to have to put a bit of conduit on this bit, I think, to try and protect it, or maybe even put a bit of foam on there and some conduit, just so that's not rubbing, over time. That's my van wiring loom, so it's all my rear lights and stuff, so I need to protect that. And then I just got to figure out how to route these, because a lot of these go down there into the cab area. Look, I've got my light bar and my light bar switch and that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of thinking before I actually do anything, as per usual. Right, what I did is I just took all the little two bolts out of there. You can see the holes, look. Took the 2 bolts out of there so I could move this, and I just got these cables which were coming down here and in through there. I've just pushed them through there, through the little gap, look, and put them down, so now they all fall on this side of the bracket. So now I can just put that up there and out of the way, because I couldn't get the cab locker on because of the cables that were here in the way. Always seems to be the case when I'm doing anything on this van. In my head I think, oh, I'll just get that done. It'll only be this, this and this, and I'll have that done. And then I come to do it and then I realise it's not the case. I have to I don't know, everything just seems to take ages. I suppose that's the nature of a van build. But unless you've done one before, you don't really know all this stuff. You don't really know how long it's going to take. Right, I just got to get on with that now, haven't I, really? And for you, You won't see all this annoying, boring stuff that I'm doing, but I'm sharing it with you because if you're doing a van build, especially a transit van, you'll need to know about all this too. The first job that I need to do though, to actually get the piece of board up, is I need to trim the headline in, and it's actually in the instructions. You've got to trim this back, because if you look, it's sitting proud, look. So it needs to be flush with this. So I've got to trim that. Now I'll be honest, that could have gone better. I tried to use this beam as a guide for the blade, but there, it sort of went a little bit skew with there. As it's going over the bolts, what I should have done is I should have removed them bolts. I didn't think until I started doing it, and it was too late. I'd already committed to cutting. I should have just removed them bolts. Stupid mistake. I put them back in as well when I took the bulkhead out in case I needed them for anything. So I'm gonna have to try to tidy this up a little bit now. Well, there is a trim that goes over it, so maybe that'll cover it, I don't know. And I've also got to do another little job that I've been putting off for ages. The switch for the light bar is just being sort of stuffed up into the headlining, and it's not been fitted. I've just left it sort of loose, sitting up in the top bit. Look, I just sort of like shoved it up in the rubber and routed it through there, and I've just got this loose switch with a view to doing it at some point. I was going to put it in there, but it means I had to drop all the cab line, all the I don't know what you call this, you know, this bit, I don't know what you call it, the cab shelf, that's it, yeah. It means I've got to take all the cab shelf off and all of those plastics and these, and I just couldn't be bothered to do it at that point in time. So I just thought I'll do that later, but now I've got to do that now, because once I put the cab locker on here, it's probably going to be more difficult to get to the actual, it'd be difficult to get this down maybe. So it's best I'll just do it now, then I haven't got to go back in there again, have I? I've got the rubber trim on there now, and I've test fitted it, and it goes around this loom. Just about these extra cables I've got in here, I've managed just to get those to go in that little bit that's notched out for the cabling. So yeah, I just got to put the back on. There's like a piece of wood that goes on the back, so you can screw it to this metal beam here. I'm going to do that next, I think. So I've got the piece of T-trim on now, on the bottom. I used my special little rubber mallet that the kids got me one time when they were little for Father's Day, and I've kept it ever since. And I thought, actually, that'd be really handy. Well, I actually did manage to get some 10mm thermoliner in there. Pretty well, actually. Look, don't ask me how I managed to do it, because I have no idea. I think it was just pure luck. I was just sort of putting my hand in, feeling, cutting pieces, and it was like putting a jigsaw together, obviously, as that's how it is when you're doing any of this sort of type of insulation. But in there, you've got that tiny little space. You can't see really in there or anything. It's just by feel. I managed to do a pretty decent job. I'm quite happy with that, because I wasn't going to do it because I thought it'd be impossible. And at best, I thought I was just going to get one piece in there just to cover what I could see. But I've managed to get it right down, right in the corners, pretty much everywhere. It won't be perfect, but it'll do the job. So I just seem to be always doing insulation on this van. It just seems to be the bane of my life at the minute, is insulation. So if the potential future buyer of this van, if I ever do sell it, is watching this YouTube channel, just know this van has been insulated to within a ½ inch of its life. Got some dodo fleece in there now as well. Just need to tape that up. Both dodo fleeced and taped up. I've got to clean up on here again, and then it's time to measure up for some carpet up in there then. I made a little boo-boo. I don't know if you've seen what that black thing was. That was in there. It was in there. Well, that black thing is that, and it was my parking sensor beeper. And I didn't realise until I went to reverse earlier, because I had to go out, and I was like, I can't hear it beeping hardly, and I turned the radio down because it's really quite loud, and I could just hear a little faint beeping. I'd actually muffled it all with the insulation, so I've had to take the bit of tape back off. I've gone back in, and luckily it was on a piece of Velcro, so I've just pulled it off the Velcro and put it where you've just seen it, repositioned it there, so that's all good now. I've lined that as well now with a little bit of that Dodo liner, just to make this surface a bit softer to touch, so when the carpet's on there it's a nice soft, you know, nice soft surface. I've got all the tea trim on all around there on the inside. Now it's time to put this piece on. I've put a little bead of glue in there. This is the back bit that attaches to that beam there. Probably have to trim that carpet off though. And it attaches on with these. And these little screws. So I'm just doing the door now. You've got to put these little plastic dowels in these little holes. And then pop one of these on. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get the I'm going to get that fitted then. I think it's time to get this Evo Motion Design cab locker fitted. For you it's not been very long, but for me it's been a couple of days because I got a little bit sidetracked doing a load of other jobs that I felt needed doing before I could fit the cab locker. I'll show you just what I've been doing anyway. So I decided to carpet this B pillar all the way down there, because I figured when the cab locker's on, it's going to be tricky to get into these bits here. I've also filled all that with Dodo fleece. I never actually planned on it, and I was just looking in there thinking, well, I can get a piece in there, I might as well. It can't hurt, and if it stops any, you know, drafts or anything like coming through there, because this may get cold in the winter, I probably should have thermo lined it, but then again, where do you stop? You've got to draw the line somewhere, haven't you? And I've finished doing all of this around there. I've done all down the bottom. I've just got a little bit of infill there to do because I don't like gaps. It wasn't properly sticking, so I had to cut it. I've done all down there. I've done that side as well, and I've gone all the way to there for now. And I've also put my fixings in. I've put my cable here for my control panel. I think I'm going to put in a Savvy Van control panel, and I think that's what I've decided. And I've done all the way down there. Down there, look. I've put that back in because I think that's good for maybe if you have pets. So if I take my cat, or if I ever get a dog, I can put a lead on that. The grab handle's back in. I'm thinking I might spray that black or something at some point. So now I'm going to wrestle with this and get this in, because even when I test fitted it yesterday, I hadn't even carpeted this bit and it caught on all this insulation. So I've left a little gap for it to go in, but it's quite tricky to fit and not smack yourself in the face of it as well. It's this loom. This loom is the one. It's the freaking bane of my life, this loom is. Why Transit, why Ford ever decided to do a loom there? And the outside of the van is beyond me. Right, you sort of just slot it in, but this bit, look, it's so tight there. I don't know if it's going to go past. Oh god, no. That's really tight. Maybe I'll get it back in there a bit. I've got to sort of pull it that way and try to jimmy it in there. And it's not wanting to go in, is it? Because I've insulated and carpeted. If I'd carpeted it, just carpeted it, would probably be okay. But it's because I've got 5mm insulation and a bit of carpet on top, and look, it doesn't want to go past. I'm going to have to just force it, aren't I? There we are. That holds it in. That's not even coming out about the screws. But yeah, look. You can see here, look, if I hadn't have done this, if I'd have done this after, I wouldn't have been able to get in there and get all that nice and tidy. And I want this edge all tidy. I think that's it. That's in. I've just got to screw it in now. Let's get that fitted. Let's get it screwed in. Little tip on when you're fitting this cab locker. Well, this is what I find. take the door off, or don't fit the door until you've drilled the pilot holes, because when you try to drill these pilot holes through here, the door's in the way, but the instructions tell you to fit the door. It's the same as the ones in there, look. You've got to see them little brackets. You've got to get in there with the drill as well. So you kind of got to get the drill in at an angle like that, and it's pretty difficult to do. I think we can now say it's fitted. And then the best part is this bit. I wanted to take off the wrap. I wanted to save this for you guys. Nice, that looks really nice. I think you'd have been upset if you didn't see me do this. There we are, look at that. I'm going to try and step back. There's not a lot of room in here now because I've got loads of stuff everywhere. It's really shiny, isn't it? That was really good. I'm really happy with that. Not sure what I'm doing about the top bit though. Figured I'd fit this first so that I knew sort of where my ceiling, you know, was going to. But there's this big gap, so I'm not really entirely sure what to do with that. But in there, look, I don't know if you can see. Oh, I've put some rivnuts in and some fixings in case I wanted to put a piece of wood. And yeah, you can see my wire in there, look, because I forgot to route the wire through the carpet, and I didn't realise till after, because I had the wire tucked in down here somewhere, and then I realised, I thought, damn it. So I've just stuck it up with a bit of glue, because really at the end of the day, once there's a light in there, you're never really going to be sort of going up there, are you, looking in there? You're just going to be here just getting stuff out and whatever. So yeah, but that's really nice, isn't it? Look at that. I mean, I know it's a cupboard, it's nothing to get too excited about, but for me, it's my first piece of furniture in the van, really, isn't it? And from there, that looks finished. If the roof was done, you wouldn't know, would you, the rest of the van needs doing. I'm really happy with that. But I've got no idea how long this video has been, but it is what it is. I've got it fitted, so hopefully it will help anyone watching that might want to be doing the same job, because for me, I was wondering how to do this bit, how I'd make it look nice, so I just figured buy the piece and just get it done. So there you go, Evo Motion Design. Give it a look. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, follow the rest of the build, and I'll see you on the next one. See you later, bye.